What's up, y'all? Welcome to Game Day here to Heavy Cardboard. I'm your host, Edward.
I'm Kyle.
He's teaching. I know it says I'm teaching today. I'm not. He's teaching.
I'm teaching.
So, today's kind of cool. I'm excited about this. So, we have Sykes-Picot, designed by Brooks Barber, published by Hollandspiele. Now, Brooks has been a patron of ours for a very long time now. And you know what? It's his first game. And got a copy.
I was excited about getting it anyway because of what it is, but then when I saw it was Brooks doing it, absolutely. We got to do it, and I said, hey, let's stream it.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Now that you got a copy, let's do it. So it has a subject matter that is incredibly important to planet Earth, Yet, I would argue 99.9% of the world has no clue about it. I did not until Brooks and I sat down at Circle DC to talk about this. Never heard of this before in my life.
I knew about it a little bit, which we'll talk about at the end. But every time you look at a map of the Middle East today, you can see the results of what happened here. It's not a good thing.
Right.
But we'll get into that.
To put it succinctly, Alan in chat says, as someone whose people ended up with no nation because of Sykes-Picot, glory to Rome to this game.
I sign up to that.
So there you go. We're already on the board today. So very small footprint, as you can see behind his head. Small box, and arguably the box is bigger than it needs to be.
Yeah, it's the standard Hollandspiele, like, medium box. It's not the thin, kind of wide, flat boxes, but I'm considering... I love the art in this game. Annabelle Holland did the art and the production for it. I feel shameful thinking about packing it down, but the box is bigger than it needs to be. But all to come. So
here, before we actually go to how we're going to actually stream this, I want to show you all this. So we have a couple of card rails that we're using. You don't need them.
You do not need them.
But it's because of there are two different types of cards. It's just easier.
It's to help with the stream. You don't need them. You can hold the one card and have the other ones face down to reference. It's a standard
But I figure
card
I would show it to everybody, all right?
Good to note.
All right. So that said, this is typical card deck size. So like,
we got big hands, but
not a big footprint on this one, which I appreciate. Yeah. So with that said, Kyle, please, the floor is yours, sir.
Right. So this is Sykes-Picot, and again, the specific subtitle to the game is Sykes-Picot, the secret treaty to partition the Ottoman Empire.
Yes.
A bunch of words that individually mean things, but altogether, not a good thing. The game has, as mentioned, a particular subject matter, a historical theme. I'm going to touch on it a little bit at the end of the teach, and then we're going to discuss it a bit more when we get to the end.
Yeah,
because it's important to bring up, but for now I'm just going to focus on teaching the game mechanically, and then while we finish the setup, I'll touch on the theme a little bit more specifically for folks who don't know about it.
Makes sense.
So what do we have? We have the world's tiniest little hex map. Again, I got big hands, but that's a standard-sized playing card.
Right.
Representing this area of the Middle East. We have a deck of 43 diplomacy cards. They come in 5 flavors. Floors, crowns, lions, and crosses, each 1 to 9. And then stars, 1 to 7. So a total of 43 cards. This is a 2-player trick-taking game. In terms of the trick play, it is a must-follow trick-taker with a trump determined by 1 card set to the side. So at the start of the game and at the start of every game, black stars or international control cards are the trump suit. You're going to have a hand of cards. One player is representing Sykes, red, which is England, which in this case is going to be Edward, and the other player is going to be representing Picot, France, blue, which in this case is going to be me. I love the setup rules in that the player with the smuggest smirk is to inhabit Mark Sykes.
Hi.
We discussed it and agreed. As far as setup goes, that player will become Sykes, the other player will be Picot, and they will start with the initiative. So this initiative card is going to start on the blue French side.
Yes.
In terms of the trick play, it's fairly straightforward. Someone's going to lead a card. The other player must follow if they can. If they can't, they can break into trump, or they can slough if they want to. When a trick is resolved, so let's say these 2 cards, I played this, and let's say Edward played that. We get into kind of the meat of the game, the MacGuffin of the game. Whoever wins the trick is going to choose one of the 2 cards played, and they're going to draw that orientation and pattern of hexagons on the map to try to create zones of influence and control on this map. You'll note on the map there's some icons, some things you might care about. There are strategic locations, shipping locations or ports, cultural locations. We each have a starting space that we must be adjacent to. Colors must be adjacent to themselves if possible. And we have the 3 center spaces of the map indicated by the empty circles. The winner of the trick is going to choose one of the 2 cards played and draw that orientation of influence in this case, or control in this case, on the map however they want. So I could choose my single blue influence, or maybe I could choose to draw Edward's 3 red influence. You get to pick. Maybe it's beneficial for you in some cases to do one or the other. You can not draw your own color. But let's say I choose to draw mine. I'm going to take...
Let's say, you won the trick. You led. Okay.
I'm going to choose my blue. When you draw on the map, influence is an outline. Control is a filled in. You must place adjacent to your own color or the color that you're drawing, if able. So I'm going to draw, let's just say I do that. I now have that hex under my influence. This card is out. We're going to play through the deck in the game. I'll talk about that in a minute. The loser of the trick, the person who did not win, you get 3 options. You can choose the remaining card and draw that hexagon pattern. So in this case, Edward could draw out 3 influence hexes. You may swap the triumph or trump suit with a card in your hand. So Edward could say, I got so many of my own influence cards, I'm going to swap out that international card for one of mine, changing the trump suit for future tricks until someone else changes it. Or you may choose to color up some of your zones of influence to become zones of control. So in this example, Edward has those 3 influence on the map.
I already have
it. Instead of choosing to draw that, you choose one of your available hexes, legally, which I'll get into, to color in. So again, one player leads, the other player must follow. The winner of the trick, the person who played the highest lead or trump, will color in one of the 2 cards on the map. The loser will choose one of 3 options. Color in the other card, swap trump, or color up one of their influence to become control legally.
Easy enough.
Those cards will now leave the whole game, not just the round, the game. We're going to play through the deck fully one time. And we go again. The person who leads, the person who takes initiative, is not the winner of the trick necessarily, but it is the person whose color won the trick. So in this instance, Edward played red, and I played blue, initiative will go to red. But if I had one with red as the blue player, the initiative would stay with red. Just because I won the trick doesn't mean I lead the next trick.
And what happens, sir, if it were like this?
So, in this instance, regardless of who led, this 4 is going to win, I'm going to win, but because it's the black international suit, initiative stays where it is.
Got it.
So the trick play is fairly straightforward, and how you fill in the map is kind of subsequent to that. Why do you care about where you fill in spaces, you may ask yourself?
I was asking myself,
Each of us has an identical deck of 6 objective cards. These objective cards, there you go, are informing you on what things you might be most interested in controlling or influencing on the board. Our decks are identical. These 3 cards say control certain spaces on the board, in this case either cultural, strategic, or the shipping locations. They ask you to control more than your opponent and control at least 3, so it's kind of a 2-part. This card kind of is a little bit of give and take. This card either wants you to influence the 3 center spaces on the board, or to give your opponent control of the 3 center spaces on the board. So it asks you to maybe give up some ground in a way to help yourself succeed. And then these 2 cards care about your control being adjacent to opponent's influence, or vice versa. You need to do it better than your opponent. So in this instance, this is one of my control, and it is adjacent to opponent influence, so that's going to give me 1 towards the objective. Whereas if this was also colored in, that doesn't give me anything, because it's not adjacent to opponent's influence. And vice versa. For Edward, this is 1 influence adjacent to one of my controls. That will give him a point towards that objective. A note, on the board, we can never have our areas of control adjacent to each other. So that space right there, that influence, can never become a control. However, that's happy to. We need to have a buffer zone of influence, which is historically aligned with what happened. That is not true, however, of the black suit. This represents international control. This can be adjacent to our control, your control, influence, wherever it wants to be. But when we color it in, it does need to be adjacent to itself, following the normal rules. And at the start of the game, there's no black on the board, so the first person to place it can put it wherever they want, and then from then on out. We're going to, at the start of the game, draw 3 of these into a private hand. And over the course of the game, which we'll explain when we get there, you have the opportunity to prune out objectives at a cost, and sculpt your objective collection the way you want.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. Now that we've seen all that, how do you win this game?
How do you win this game, Kyle?
The game, at the end of the game, which we'll explain how it ends, you need to be eligible to win. You need to have completed at least one objective. They will end up face up on the table. You need to have completed at least one objective to be eligible to win. If you have completed more objectives than your opponent, you win. You are the more deft and skilled diplomat. If you and your opponent have achieved the same number of objectives, but more than 0 each, we win, no, everyone else loses, again, historically. Or, if neither of you have completed any objectives, I think, quote, we should both reconsider our careers and go home in shame, which perhaps is what they should have done anyway, but is not historically what went down. So it's a game of trying to fulfill the objectives in your hand, and the game explicitly allows for discussion, negotiation. We were talking about it. Why would you want to do that? Well, if I'm really struggling to get one of my objectives off the ground, maybe I look at Edward and say, you know, it looks like you're trying to control some cultural objectives. I have some cards that might be able to help you. Maybe you give me some zones of influence in the center of the board, whatever it is, right? But also, explicitly in the rules, just lie. You say whatever you want.
It's diplomacy.
It's you can do whatever you need to do to win, or try to anyway. While Edward is shuffling up, we're each going to shuffle up. Again, these decks of objectives are identical. We're going to shuffle these up, get 3. At the start of the game, the black 7 stars is always the starting trump suit, and Edward's going to deal us each 7 cards in our hand.
So, at the end of each, so we're playing 3 hands of 7 tricks total.
Right. Yes, the game will end in one of a couple ways.
And we never reshuffle this deck.
No.
So the played cards are gone out of the game permanently.
Yeah. The game is most likely to end at the end of the 3rd hand or round.
Right.
We evaluate objectives and move on. The game could also end if there's no more legal placements. If we would need to put down control or need to fill in a space and we simply can't, either the board's full or there's so much control that we can't put any more, that would also end the game. Or we can agree to conclude the game early. We can discuss. Maybe I feel that I've completed enough of my objectives that I'm willing to try, and I doubt we'll see that. But I think if you play this game enough and you get into the nuance of the discussion, that could be an interesting way to conclude a game, a gambit that you could try. So while we're going to put our cards in our card racks, I did want to take a minute to talk about the theme, just because it's important and... It's a difficult theme. It's a tough theme. So, for those who don't know, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, the secret treaty to partition the Ottoman Empire, the middle of World War I, not even near the end, when things were not decided.
Yeah,
the war was very much still hot.
It was 1916.
I believe it was 1916. Yeah. So things were still going on.
Yeah.
The Allied forces, in this case, England and France, were trying to take a long look at how do we want to control the conclusion of this war.
Yeah.
And again, it was not decided. So hubristically, they said, well, how do we want to divide up the Middle East? How do we want to look at the end of the Ottoman Empire and parcel out the land?
I want this.
Uh-huh.
You want that.
I want that.
How about I give you this? And yeah.
So there was other discussions and agreements going on. There was an Arab uprising going on as well. And actually, I believe the English already had in place an agreement with the Sharif of Mecca to give land in return for their support in kind of troubling the Ottomans on a different flank to weaken their position in the main conflict. People had already discussed this in the open, but Mark Sykes and Francois-Georges Picot literally got together in a drawing room with a map and with rulers and pencils, and they divided the map of the Middle East at the time with no regard for cultural groups, ethnic groups, who controlled what. Things they cared about.
What could possibly go wrong with this?
Things they cared about. The French, I believe it was, they wanted Syria. They claimed some cultural, historic tie and influence there. The English wanted a buffer zone to India to help maintain their influence there. The holy sites in Palestine were up for discussion. They ultimately ended up under international jurisdiction. Oil was a factor. Oil,
Shock.
the discovery of oil was a factor. The Americans were also there, but they were not involved in this.
Yeah, this was a secret discussion that they. Yeah.
The Brooks mentions talking about the map. The kind of when we get back to the map, the actual Sykes-Picot map is the background to this hex map.
Yeah. So let me show you all. So if you look. This map
is right.
It's really, really, really faint, but it's there. So the hexes are overlaid on the actual map. So just FYI, so you can kind of see the A. So there.
So
anyway.
they literally took a ruler in some cases and looked at a random scale map and said, "Well, I'm going to draw a line from Acre to Kirkuk, and that's going to be the dividing line of our zones of influence." Ridiculous. Well, we'll talk more about kind of how everything played out and the other considerations at the end, but that's the concept in which we're working.
All right, look down so you don't see this.
Sure.
So here is kind of how I have my cards laid out. So you own a little bit of context here. All right. Here we go. So it is your honor.
Yep.
Welcome to the drawing room.
Yeah, very literally, and we'll talk about it at the end. But Brooks made a point that the game is simple. It's a card game like they would actually play, because this is basically how it went. But we'll talk about that more at the end. Let's get into the game now. So let me take a look at my objectives. Okay.
And the objectives only matter at the end of the game.
Yeah, when we finish this first round, there's a process by which you can prune your objectives.
Right.
And we're ultimately going to
context.
Yeah, we're ultimately going to reveal some objectives, but we'll talk some more about it when we get there. Okay. I'm going to an influence card, but relatively strong. Reminder that the red and blue suits go from 1 to 9.
And again, must follow.
So, I've won the trick. I'm going to maintain initiative because the winning card was blue. I'm going to choose one of these two, and I'm going to color in whatever that is on the map. So in this case, starting from adjacent, I'm going to head out this way. I'm going to put all of that into my zone of influence.
That card's dead. Now, I have 3 options. I can do the same for this card.
Yep.
It's an option.
It's an option.
The second is I can color in one influence of my own. I currently have no influence. So, not an option.
Not an option.
The third option is I pitch this card, I take this into my hand.
And swap it with another card in your hand, changing trump for the time being. In
Correct. I would like to go ahead and look down again.
Yep.
I'd like to point out that is my hand of cards. So this is kind of a tough decision right now. Okay? Yeah. So
while you think, Alan asked, do you have to influence a hex before you can control it? No, if you're coloring in from a card play, but yes, if you're coloring up as the loser of a trick. So control can spring forth from the card play inherently, provided it's not adjacent to the other player's zones of control. You don't need to influence it before you control it. Only if you lose the trick and choose to color in one of your influence. Hi, Olivier. Hi, John.
God, this is terrible.
Brooks, how'd I do?
All right. I am going to fill this in.
Oh, so kind. Thank you for that.
There you go. You're welcome.
So that's gone?
Yep. And now, Blue won the trick, not because he won the trick, but because Blue was the one
card
that won the trick.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So, right, if I played now I'm leading again, I could play a red card.
Yes.
And regardless of who won, if red was the winning card,
then I get initiative. Right. There you go.
All right. All right, well, we'll play on. Slightly weaker, but big zone of control. Which the cards are scaled like that, for the most part. They kind of peak in the middle values between 1 and 9 and trail off on the ends.
All right, so blue is winning because blue, so he keeps initiative. So he does that or that, the end.
Yeah.
And then...
That is interesting. Let me check one thing.
Hey, Sergey, appreciate it. Says another wonderful game introduced by this channel. Thanks. You're welcome. What a horrible hand I had to start with.
Well, and I haven't seen your hand. You've shown it to the herd.
Yeah.
But, there's some negotiation involved here. You're more than welcome to try to pitch me on an idea.
No. I have plans at this point.
Well, I'm going to do the bigger one.
Okay, I'm shocked. Shocked, I say.
And I'm going to start here. So this
One,
is adjacent. Two, 3, 4.
Yeah, there you go.
Just so we can see it.
So it's easier for y'all to see it if we don't color that in. So that's a navel.
Yeah, it's for the camera. It's a little tricky to see which one's which, but you could even color them in, and it would be obvious sitting here.
Yeah. It's clear, but again, because because of all the white, makes it a little hard with the contrast.
And now remember, right? This is going. I got a lot of stuff on the map now. The cards we're seeing now are never coming back.
Thank God. So this is going away. I'm not doing that.
Oh, unsurprising. Would you like to change Trump?
Yes, I would. I will take that into my hand. And...
Yeah, and Brooks says the good news about bad early hands is those cards are gone.
Thank God. Forever. Yes. All right. Done. All right. So the crowns is now Trump. And blue won that trick. Again, not because Kyle won it, but because of blue. So now it is your honor.
Yeah. Oh. Bully for you.
We played this earlier this morning, and this game is going way different.
It's already going very different than how the prior game played. So I've read, red has been led, so probably the initiative will change unless you play a crown and win with it, in which case it's blue has won, so I keep initiative.
Okay, what is the order in which I want to do things? Again, look down. That is... If I win the trick, I choose the card.
Yep, you could do mine or yours. So you could win with a, blue crown solid suit and still do mine, but then you'd leave me that or to change something. I've offered you up here. I mean, you might not have any lions in hand, but I can foresee some tough hands for me coming. So,
oh boy, do you!
All I can hope is that they'll be divvied up, and that you or I are not going to hold all the, the red cards.
Okay, so if I win, I choose first.
If you win, you pick either of the two cards.
If you win,
I pick either of the two cards, and then you get to do the secondary thing.
Okay. Red is going to win
initiative. Suit regardless. The winning card was red, so initiative for the next trick will change.
This led. So I did not follow. I could not follow, obviously. So therefore, you choose which of those to do. And it has to be adjacent to existing.
Yep. So I'll give you a nice zone of control.
You know what? Hey, I'm on the board. I'll take it and give me that.
Yeah, I figured you might like that.
Yeah, so then we are going to come out this way.
Alan asks, so how does one benefit from coloring hexes in black? Is it just to block the other player from advancing in a direction?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. The zones of international control is a way maybe to if either Edward has declared or I'm fairly certain he's going for a certain objective, I can sacrifice my own position, play a black card, and try to assign that to, we'll let the EU handle that. Somebody else can manage that.
By the way, and Simon's like, and purchased.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Red led wasn't trumped.
Yep.
Red's going to win. Red keeps initiative. Okay.
Speaking of playing black cards.
Right.
And now that I've just said it, you want to continue to expand your influence and let me put a big blocker on the map? Or
do I... Yeah, this is actually really tempting. So I'm choosing this. So I'm going to go ahead and put that out there.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that he's got my thinking here, okay? And I'm okay with,
it's a negotiation game. We are sitting in this drawing room. We're in between cups of tea.
He clearly has interest for naval. So that likely is one of his objectives.
And to be clear, there's no currently international control on the board. So you can put this
anywhere
that's not already colored in. And then all future played black coloring
has to be adjacent to that. So there was a part of me that was thinking of coming down and doing these three. But I don't think that does what I want it to do. So instead, I think we go here.
Yeah, glory to Rome for that. I was seeing...
Your Honor.
Yeah, I'll throw you one for that. It was a soft bait. I was seeing if I could get you in on that. I will not be drawing that. I will not be changing Trump. I am going to color up one of mine.
Okay.
Which will be this one, it can be next to international control. That is perfectly fine.
Yep. All right. So, I have Trump. All right. Okay. What do I want to do?
I mean, we started with the general glory to Rome. I feel like including that one 4.5, one around, maybe?
5.5.
5.5.
5.5. Okay. So we're going to hunt Trump.
John has asked to see specifically how big the box is.
Hand for size. Okay.
Also, again, Annabelle Holland did the art and production. They're very characterful. I love them. I think this is great.
Yeah.
And in the spirit of how this game wants to be presented as a parlor game.
Right.
It's great. Okay. Oh, back to me, you say?
Yep. And Trump led.
Fascinating. So you're probably going to be winning this trick.
Well, I don't know. I would think you would.
I decline.
Okay.
I decline to play the ambush in my hand. I'm just playing root now. I decline to play the ambush in my hand.
Okay, so...
Yep, blue is the winning color, so it
okay.
comes to me.
So we're doing that first because that's easy to forget. So just as a reminder. So now I will be a team player. I choose your influence, sir.
Yeah. Thought you might. Seems like I really own this. This is my part of the board.
That is your part of influence.
Currently is historically the way it went.
All right, so 3 options. Play the card, fill one in. Well, yeah, you're not, or change Trump.
I will not be doing that.
Okay.
I will not be coloring up. I'm going to change.
Okay.
Change Trump.
So he takes that.
And I'll put that.
Oh, okay. And it is your honor, sir.
It is my honor, isn't it?
I actually prefer that. That is a great way that worked out. One thing also that you probably guessed this, but Trump does not carry forward from hand to hand.
Yes, in the setup
Okay.
and kind of inter-round period, the Triumph card, just to be clear about what it's called, the Triumph card is going to be shuffled back into the remainder of the deck, and we will deal a new Triumph card and new hands in the inter-round period. Ooh. Okay. Do I want the 3? Do I want the 3? I think I do.
Do not like this.
Yeah, all the...
This is a terrible first round.
I think things are going to come back in
They have to!
fits and starts for you here. Yeah, we're going to head on up this way.
Now, the nasty thing here is, remember...
Your control cannot touch my control. Would you like to... I'm just going to, it's right here for you. It's right there. If you want it.
So I cannot fill that in
None of
as my option.
these can all become influence for you, and
Yes.
this one that is influence. None of these can
So
become
bad.
control.
So bad.
Cool. And to be clear, at the end of the game, simply owning more of the board
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter at all. So me getting all these are non-moves. I mean,
Right.
effectively, it's never going to be adjacent to his stuff. Maybe I'll eventually get that if I care about it. But
Yeah.
me owning all of that, it don't matter. It don't matter at all. Okay. Final blue was the winning card.
Yes.
So last card in hand, we just played.
Yeah. So you lead, though, technically. So red, that will come here.
Yes.
So Trump won. Remember, Trump is red. It's not. Remember, yeah.
Yep. I won, so I must color in. Yeah. Some land for you, sir.
Hey, you know what? I'm on the board. Beggars can't be choosers. Okay. So my options are:
You cannot change because you have no cards in hand.
I cannot fill that one in because I can't have direct. So literally, I will do that card. Okay, done.
Enjoy placing that.
And that must be adjacent to existing black. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
fill that in a little bit. Is that what I want to do? So my options are those three.
Yes.
No, allow me to fix that. Yeah, all right.
You got one over there.
Yeah, I do.
So to be clear, the game comes with a blue marker, a red marker, a black marker. We're using these expos. Unfortunately, my red marker became uncapped in the box during transit and marked up the inside of my box and slightly the edges of some of the cards and dried itself out. So I bought myself some new nice markers.
Oh, thank God that hand is over. That's so bad. So, now,
Things are going well for the French.
so, hold on. Remember, we're not going to see any of these again. These are all the blue cards that we saw.
Out of 14 possible cards, we saw 8 blue cards, 4 red, and 2 black.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Which we have them off camera, but what is played is knowledge. We now
Right,
know.
yeah. And again, it's not a memory game, so we kind of have it splayed off camera over there.
So,
All right.
At the end of a round,
Yes.
after all 7 tricks, which is the first round of a max of 3, each player, and we've agreed prior that this should be done in initiative order,
Right.
Players may optionally discard an agenda card, drawing the top card of their agenda deck.
But if they do,
If you do, you must replace 3 of your influence or control hexes with black hexes, and they do not need to be adjacent to existing hexes that are black, and they do not need to be adjacent to each other.
so in other words, I would forego 3 of my 4, but then I could place.
3 of your 5, in theory.
Okay, fair.
I'm assuming that you can replace your starting hex. As far as I can tell, it's simply just a seeding control.
Okay.
Would you like to give up 60% of your board presence to change an objective at this time?
I elect not to.
I thought you might. I'm good for now as well. It's an
Okay.
optional. You're only ever going to score 3. You're only ever going to have 3 in hand. Now, then players must reveal one of their agenda cards playing it face up to the table. And again, we've agreed to do this in initiative order because it's vague in the rules, but information matters. So we've said whoever has initiative will be the person to reveal first or discard first.
Oh boy. You know what?
And to be clear, the pruning of objectives is optional. Showing one is mandatory. So at the end of the game, you will have, at the end of the second round, you'll put 2 on the table, and at the end of the game, almost all of your information will be available.
You know what? I take it back. I do want to exchange one.
Okay.
I do. Okay.
When you choose to exchange, you discard it face down out of the game.
So, look down. That is the one we are doing away with.
And you get to see your new objective. Draw from the top of your deck.
Okay.
And now...
Hold on. Look down.
Yep.
This is the one that we just drew. Okay. Okay.
You must change 3 things.
All right. So, I am going to get rid of... And now, it's... They don't turn into black. I just put black on the board.
They must replace 3 of their influence or control hexes with black international control.
Okay, so here. So it'll be...
So you're giving up that spot of influence to become international control. International control and international control.
Okay.
So there's no international influence. So when you trade up a personal influence to an international, it's not influence, it is control. It is solid black. Color that there in. This is an...
Go east, young man!
This is an interesting play. Huh. Alright. I still decline.
Okay.
Now we reveal.
Apologies about that, but I had to.
Okay. Yeah. John Doe in chat says, hell of a persuasive Picot. Well, the cards went my way.
Oh my god.
They will likely not go my way in a minute.
Yeah.
You've correctly deduced that the French care deeply about shipping interest. Yeah, I'll put it this way for the camera. I know what it is. Okay. Then shuffle the Triumph card into the deck.
Oh, thank God. That couldn't have gone worse.
It's and that, we were kind of discussing after, doing our pre-plays and late in the game, like, when do we feel like negotiation is really going to hit? Maybe then.
Maybe now.
Our inexperience in the game is leading us to, play a little more close to the vest, but maybe you would have said, oh, maybe do this, maybe go this way, you'll yield some points, which, again, you can't be prescriptive, but you can intimate what you have, and you can just lie. Okay, flip up a new Triumph card. We are back to black being Trump.
Okay.
I apologize, I did not offer a cut.
No, you're fine. When you're in this strong of a position, I don't think you got to offer.
You decline.
No. You don't have to offer, is what I'm saying. All right. Look down.
Yeah.
There you go. I will. I am intentionally not sorting. Okay.
I am because of who I am as a person.
Well, I don't like being able to see you be able to deduce any kind of information from this. So just straight up not sorting, okay? So that's where I'm at right now. And I have initiative.
Yep.
So now I'm going to pull these back now. Okay.
To be clear, in future turns, if you choose to discard an objective, the ones we've declared, you cannot come back from. We have stated... Sykes has stated that they care about strategic objectives, and Picot has stated we can care about shipping zones. So. Oh, yeah, it's already worse.
Here we go. And they range from 1 to 9, right? Per suit?
1 to 9 for the red and blue, and 1 to 7 for the black.
Red is going to win that, obviously, so the crosses. So, you know what? I'll choose yours.
It's interesting you would do that. I was considering choosing yours.
And how about we just go ahead and...
Oh, look at that there. Yep. I wonder what objective he has.
No. See, I get why you're thinking that, but here's the thing. I'm just trying to cut you off.
Yep.
That's all that is.
Here you go. You can,
Okay.
You can get...
Hey, look at that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I'm yielding the point. I think my early negotiations are failing me at this moment. Oh, so sorry. I can't do that. It's not adjacent to you. What am I doing?
That is true.
What am I doing?
Cannot.
What am I doing?
I'll take it here. You do what you can do. And
that was an illegal play.
It was.
Oh, gosh.
I appreciate the thought.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you out, but those spaces, they're mine.
Yeah, they are.
Or they're international. Yeah, all right. Well, we're going to send this way. Yeah, that was an illegal play for everyone typing. I know. Don't give me a comment. I don't care. There you go.
All right. So now that is done.
As much as I did want to do that. Yep. That's how this hand's going to go.
Oh, my.
Red wins. Red maintains initiative.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn is correct.
Oh, wow. I could effectively almost end the game.
You could try.
I'm going to pull levers because I want to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's necessarily the right thing to do.
Play fast, fast.
So, it's either going to be those three or it's going to be those three.
To be clear, if you block off all my lines, if there's no legal place for me to put it adjacent, I can put it anywhere I want.
Oh.
To be clear, just to read it.
Oh.
If only empty hexes can be colored in, they must be adjacent to hexes of the same color if possible. If this is not possible. You may color in any empty legal space.
Then in that case, I will do this. Hold on, let me see. Yeah. This one, there.
Yep.
You now have legal. You can go frolic yonder.
I will color up.
Okay. So coloring in one of his.
Yep, I'll color in which...
In lieu of putting more influence of mine out.
Yep.
Okay, and obviously red kept that. All right. Wow. That's better.
Yeah, things are improving for you. To be fair, what you just described, it's still painful for me because I have some legal spaces to put things adjacent, and I'd have to fill them in for weaker effect. I would have to partially fill a card before I get to go play wherever I want. Yeah.
Okay. Look down.
Yep.
So this is what I have left, and those are my objectives. Okay. Yeah, it's a big pile of red now, but still not a lot of red filled in there.
Well, yeah, we've seen a lot of your influence, which is tricky. If you get too much of one thing at a time, my control can touch your influence. That's perfectly acceptable.
All right, so I win this.
Red wins, maintains. You win the trick. Time to start coloring in.
And it's uninfluenced areas.
Yes. Again, you do not use these cards to color in areas of influence. You use these to create new zones of control. Brooks, as part of a discarding agenda action, could you give up your pre-printed starting hex and just color it in over black? I assume so. It's a control hex. It's just printed on the board. I assume it acts as a normal control hex. Just wondering if he could have done that when he gave up his spots.
Like, could I have given up that
Yeah,
one? Right.
I'm asking Brooks if you
Yeah,
could have done that if you'd wanted to.
Oh, and I could have theoretically split up my influence then, right?
You could have.
Theoretically.
Right. Yes, that's allowed. That's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a hard decision.
Oh, God, the glut. My cup, it runneth over too much. Oh, God.
Like, I'm debating, do I try and focus on this, or do I focus on more...
Well, again, in the spirit of showing the game and learning, you need to have both minimum three, and more than me. I currently have 2, and I'm set up to take a third. So...
And there's only 3 others.
It might come to pass that I can't take this because of the card play.
Right.
But because you've declared that, if I can gobble that up, that's your objective toast.
Fair. That's a good point.
Yep.
That's a good point. And you already have... No, you do not have. And once it goes black, it never goes back.
No.
So...
International control, once seated, cannot be reclaimed.
So I could try and do similar against you. Yeah, this is hard.
Yeah, I control 2 ports. The remaining 3, I got 1 kind of in my back pocket. You could get to.
I can get to it right
now.
Oh, no, I can't.
Yeah, no, you cannot. You cannot put control there. If you had influence, you could go there.
So...
Yeah, there's slow reveal. We're going to reveal another objective at the end of the next hand, and that slow reveal of information is how it comes out, the order, who says what. The simple elements lay on top of each other really interestingly, but we'll talk about it more at the end.
I apologize, but this is really hard.
At least you're sorry.
There's that.
If you're open to opinions.
Sure.
Well, I could give you the Francois Georges Picot opinion, and I give you my strategic opinion. You could use this long guy. You can't touch me here because of that control. But if you do that, that's pretty painful for me. I can't control anything down here. You absorb another sword.
So my realistic ones, I was planning on using this, was exactly that.
Yep.
It was to come this way, or to go ahead and get those.
I mean, the other thing you could do is, right, we're challenging each other down here, but so far the hand has not gone blue. You could take a longer term action and try to cut me off here and just constrain me down.
Sure.
Here.
But no, I kind of actually do like this idea.
Yeah. You're doing to me what down in that bottom left hand corner of the board there that I did to you in the first half.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm thankful for you for giving me so much free influence. I'm just going to color up.
Okay.
Which, again, it's not adjacent to you. I can be adjacent to black. Please continue your utter hegemonic domination.
Don't want that.
Really not good for me now.
I don't necessarily want lead. But here we are. Okay. So red keeps it.
Yep, Lions was the winning suit. Yeah, you pretty squarely penned me in here.
All right, I'm going to choose this one. You can have
Yeah,
that, sir.
Cloyd around.
All right. Brooks says, I love watching people play this game. I'm sure he's over there screaming at his screen, like, do this!
I'm going to do something potentially ill-advised.
Ooh, exciting. All right, Trump is changing. So
Which-
that is going away. Okay. Well, that card now isn't getting played.
Why do you... Yeah, I don't want it in my hand, which...
Sure.
When you see what else is in my hand, it might be confounding.
Okay.
But, which, you look down.
Go ahead.
That's what's in my hand, everyone, after that change. Done for a reason. Which he just stated, which is now that card's not going to get played. Unless you pitch a trick, swap Trump to get it played, which, hey, could do. You know him, you love him. The one of stars. I'll take that, thank you.
Oh, thank God.
Wait, no. Oh, yeah, blue one. I'll take that.
Yes, thank God. I am so tired of having lead. That is great for me.
I wanted to get out of it. It's an interesting push and pull, but
Okay.
it depends on
But I win this.
Yeah, would you like to give me a control, or would you like to give...
Yeah, I will absolutely give you one control.
Sure. Send it. Where do you want me? Okay. Do I want to color up, or do I want to... Or I want to put out an international control? No, I will color up.
Okay, your lead, sir.
Well, it sure is.
So,
I've won. Black was the winning.
oh, it stays where it is.
stays.
You're right. No, you're right.
I'm just gonna
100%.
make sure.
Yeah.
If a black card initiative does not change.
Oh, trick taking is the new Viking or new
Zombie.
Zombie.
Well, zombie's
or-
coming back.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Help you solidify your foothold in this corner of the board. You enjoy that, sir.
Cool. That works out. Yeah, that's actually great. So it'll be right here. So now you don't have that one.
Neither do you.
Yeah, but you don't have that one.
Yeah.
Is the key.
Yeah, unfortunately. That was good for you.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Last card. Oh, very good. So I will keep initiative. Where can I put you? I can't play you there.
Correct.
So I can fill in. I have legal places to play where the full shape does not fit. Here, here, and here.
And there.
Technically, yes.
That gives you your objective.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's it. Yeah, we'll do that. So to be clear, I'm choosing to place this
Yes.
But I have no place legally to place it that's fully available.
Right.
So I have to trim it down. I could put it 1 square or 1 hex here, 1 hex here, 1 hex here, or 1 hex here because I can't play there and there to be adjacent to your control.
Right.
I'll finish up my objective.
Okay. And same goes with this, but instead, I choose... Is that what I want to do? Hold on.
Chris asked, why do you think? Chris asked, shouldn't have ever won last hand? No. So he played a solid red, which even though it is a red card, is different than this trump. I led black. Black is a lead suit.
This is right.
Black is not inherently trump, but I led it and he couldn't follow, so I win it.
Okay, done. All right. So now that's done. You have initiative. Do you wish to change out?
Yes.
Okay. So face down.
Discard that.
He cedes 3 to black.
I'll draw this one.
Yep.
Okay, I have to cede 3 to black. I believe it's going to be those 3 right there on the edge of the map.
Here.
Yep. Starting there, running down. Thank you. Would you like to cede? Just to keep the discussion moving? While
I don't think I do.
Playing with my crayons?
Sure.
All right, now we need to declare one. I will declare my control adjacent to your influence is higher than your control adjacent to my influence.
Facts. Right now it is because
I have 2.
he currently has 1.
I count my control.
Yeah, 1, 2.
To your goose egg.
Yeah, I have none that is adjacent because I've cut you off so well,
Exactly.
better or worse. I need to influence all 3 of those or give you control of all 3 of those.
Which is going to be you influencing that third one.
It looks likely.
Pretty
looks
good.
likely.
Yeah, it looks likely.
Okay, so you have influence. This gets shuffled in.
Yep. All right, so this is the final. Regardless, this is the final hand. It looks like we're probably going to play it out, although the board's pretty tight.
It is tight, but now to be clear, I'm just going to do this. You have all 3 of these influence.
Yeah, it is a bad habit that we're just drawing and,
Right.
and this one down here.
Yeah, that one. This one is not.
That's not.
And this one is not.
Not.
And that one is not.
And while you shuffle, you have those that.
There you go, yeah.
We should really have been doing this the whole time.
Right. So just to be clear, if it's surrounded, it's influence. Cut. See, I will.
I'll decline.
Unlike.
I'll reclaim a little of my dignity. So 7 each, and then there should be 1 left. That is our triumph.
The tension in this room is high.
2-player games generally promote that, but this
Yes.
has a good flavor.
All right. Y'all look down or look down. That's where we're at. Okay. All right. Your honor, sir.
Oh, it sure is. I gotta think.
So I need that. Okay. Welcome, Archer. Yeah, and just to reiterate what Brooks is saying, he says if you can't fill in the whole shape, you have to find a play that will let you play as much of the shape as possible. If there's a choice, you choose.
Yep. In that case, I had 4 options to
Of
play
singles.
1 control
Right.
space.
Yep, and if it's not possible,
anywhere.
that is, well, anywhere.
We'll do that. Already an error, but that's okay. That's not the card I wanted to play.
You can. I haven't changed anything. Go ahead. I mean, I know it now.
I'm revealing information about my hand at any
Right.
time. I'd rather play that.
Okay.
For reasons. Yeah. Anywhere legal, control still cannot touch control, which is why that little L bend shape I could not play in those two because he has control there. That single option was available to me, and luckily all my other options were singles. So I was able to get that port and get my objective online. Alright, so you've won the trick, but blue will keep initiative. You've yielded a point to me, thank you very much. Go on.
I know. Sorry.
No, I
All right.
I'm not prompting to rush you. I'm prompting because it's blue on blue. You gonna do the thing you're allowed to do? The one spot that card's currently allowed to be played? That's fine. That actually massively helps me. Yeah.
And then what are you doing with that one? You're filling that
right there.
Okay. Your Honor.
Wait. No, not that one, not that one.
Okay, yeah, you got it. Yep.
This one. The not boneheaded play.
Okay.
Okay, here we go again. Yeah, the dump. Yeah, Brooks says, this is a very combative play of the game. I think we were talking about this, we spoke about it, Brooks, earlier, but I think perhaps with more plays of the game and more understanding of the system, negotiation will come to the front because you can be more subtle about what you try to give away and dishonesty, which is in the game. Nope. We're not approaching it that way because we're still learning it. We only have a limited number of plays under our belt, so
that's okay. That's okay.
We're playing this very specific area control, very fighty game. Interesting.
Blue wins it. So now, what do you want to do?
That is a terrific question. What's funny is actually, doesn't matter which of the two I pick. I slightly erased this. I'm just gonna.
Sure.
You have influence on that spot.
Yeah.
I erased it. It actually doesn't matter which card I pick. They have to go in the same spot. So I'll just take the big one to feel good about myself. To be clear, I'm saying that because right here, 1, 2, 3 in a row. It is the place I can fill the most of this, or I can completely fit that. So what I'll do is I'll take that. No. Gobble up that influence there.
And I can fill in one of mine, which I elect to do.
Yeah, that seems correct. Congratulations.
Okay.
So we're now tied on swords, and there's only one left on offer because international control. All right. Now what do I need to do? Secured that. Feel good about that.
Paul says this just put me over the edge to place a $130 order over at Hollandspiele. So that's a nice shot of Ozempic directly into my wallet. Yes, the Sykes-Picot agreement was more of a two-man silently and angrily drawing with their rulers. I didn't even see what you played,
Yeah, that's
so
okay.
you're safe.
That's okay. We'll do that. I'm going to hold on to that card that I have there. See, John Doe says Sykes-Picot agreement is more of two men silently angrily drawing.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if they were silent and angry.
Well, no, he's saying us.
Oh. We are two men silently and angry.
Yes.
Looking at our arts and crafts supplies. One that I erased earlier. You control that space. So
right.
You influence that space. Okay, so the fun thing about this is black only has one place to go currently, which I'm going to have to take. And then you're going to get to put the other one. You have to fully place it. So
yeah.
You can't be too rude. You can't be too rude. So I will do... I'll take the 4. I'll take the bigger one.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't think you would. Huh.
It's currently a tool you have. And you can... So, to be clear, you can put this anywhere because there's no legal adjacency here. And there's no legal adjacency now that I've filled in this blank spot.
Yeah, I think
this goes anywhere. And because he has options where it can fully fit, he has to put it somewhere where it fully fits. I binned off the bigger one because this is now a tool he has to try to get in my way, in theory. But although, looking at the board state...
Oh, that's the last black.
Yes, it is. Looking at the board state, I could have left him the bigger one because it's kind of just this big clunky thing that he has to do. Yeah. I've talked myself out of it. I can choose either of them. I have to fill in this one space. Go ahead. Do something with this big, horrible guy.
Okay.
You're going to color up?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine either way. Black was the winning color. I maintain initiative still. Yeah. Now we put the card. I think I technically could have done it before. Yeah, no, I want that. That's fine.
So it would have to go there now, or those.
I would have to go here because I can fill more spaces.
More spaces, that's fair.
So, and even if you choose to pick it, it has to go there because I fill in more of the card.
Blue wins.
Blue wins, I maintain initiative. Unsurprisingly. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter which one I pick. You're gonna color up. So, I'll take that there. Okay, let's say that I used...
Sorry, where did you fill in? I apologize.
The one.
Yeah, you had to. Right.
If I choose this, it has to go there. If I choose this, it has to go there.
I mean, it's going to be that.
Yeah, if you pick it, you fill that in.
Right.
Which I doubt you will, because that's a cultural objective point.
I mean, I don't see any need. Do you really? I mean, I think we...
Color up.
Okay. Your Honor.
Yep. Yeah, here's where things get interesting.
These are the last 3 card plays coming up.
Yep. They sure are, boss.
So right now, you have successfully completed this one.
Yeah, you cannot take that from me, and I can't lose it unless I willingly give up one of the spaces.
Which you're not going to.
This one is still technically in flux.
But you're in really good shape for that.
I'm in pretty good shape. But
okay, good. This is what I needed. Yeah.
So, red ones.
Yep, I needed that bad. Okay. I'm
just gonna hold on to this. Don't worry about it.
I could do that. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna do this one.
Yeah, it's interesting because you probably need to fill in one in particular. And if you'd chosen this, you would not have
I can't do that one. So now I have successfully done that one.
And I can't take it from you.
So there.
I could have tried to earlier. I could have been more annoying, which probably I should have, but that's an experience for you. Oh.
Leading Trump. You win.
That will stay, but I win. Yeah, and unfortunately, I'll take this. Look at this beautiful land that I, Francois Georges Picot, are graciously giving to you.
Glory to Rome.
Yes, sir! I did this straight.
Oh, that was.
Look at all that territory you control. Oh my gosh.
That was dirty. That was dirty.
You have so many options. That's a great card. I'll stop.
All right. Is there any way that I can get that? Is the question.
So mechanically, I don't know what you have, but you need to hope to have a big solid red control, and you need to take up as much space with this as you can. But based on the cards, I don't think you're going to be able to get it.
I don't think so either.
So regardless, I think your best strategic play is to take up as much space as you can awkwardly out here with this card to allow you to shrink it down. But I don't think you're going to be able to enough because you'll have a 2 or 3 spot regardless of where you go. Suffice to say, I think I made a good play.
I think that won you the game. The question is, if I were to swap Trump, does that do anything for me? I don't think it does.
Yeah, just take those 3.
So that one, that one, that one.
Oh, color them in.
Oh, right. Yeah, Dur. I think you got me on that. Well done.
I think I did too. Your Honor, sir. I mean, it's the last card, but... So, blue 1.
Nasty.
Yes, correct. There's only one place this can go, so...
Well, I choose to do mine, and I will... So it's that and that are my influence.
Just can I don't even think I mean I can color up useless places. Can't change Trump. Could color up. I'll finally okay, whatever. No, whatever, man. So there's only one place I can play. I have to play there, which is irrelevant.
All right.
So this is the end of the round. It's the end of the third trick, so this is the end of the game. However, if you resolve the game this way, you do still go through the end phase. You may optionally change that. Okay. Giving up 3 spots. You're welcome to see your new objective first. You might want to do that. Just in case you don't want to accidentally give something away. Brooks, that is simply put, Kyle was just mean to Edward. Yeah, any 3, and again, they don't need to be adjacent to each other. They don't need to be adjacent to black.
Done.
That's just how it's worked out. That's fine, actually. Yeah. I will not change mine.
Mine says your influence adjacent to their control.
Yeah, I also have that one.
All right. So now we look. What ones have you completed?
So control more shipping zones than your opponent.
1.
And I need to control
2,
these 3.
3.
4.
4.
And you have
0.
So I've definitely done that.
Yes.
My control, so I look at my control hexes. Is it adjacent to enemy influence? 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
So I have 3. How many do you have?
Is greater than their control. I don't think I have.
You have a million down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You took that from me with that play. And I needed to do that to secure this objective.
So you don't have that
I
one.
do not have that one.
Did I just screw this up? Hold on.
If you screwed it up, you could take it back.
It
would not change.
I 100 greater than I misread that because So
we're
those
about to get into discussion.
My bad. Yeah.
These two are very similar.
They are. Yeah. My bad. That was the one I was like, wait, no.
It's fine. Now I also have the opposite. Your influence adjacent to their control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you have 1, 2, 3.
So you've completed that one.
So I've got 2.
Okay.
I'm eligible to win, and I've set the bar at 2.
I only have 2 of these. 1, 2, I couldn't get that one. That one's dead. I have the center influence, and I have this one. Well done.
Yep.
The Middle East is ours.
Oh, God.
I don't feel good about it, but yeah.
So that would unblock the 3 tiles in the middle,
yes.
But it does not change.
It didn't change anything, correct.
Yeah, because I still have 1, 2, 3 adjacent to his. That doesn't affect his adjacency enough to make a difference. It would put you to 4, still to my 5. So it wouldn't make a difference for this card.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Okay. All right. So thoughts on the game?
I like it.
I think it's really clever, and it's hard not to think of it as I need to beat you down game.
It is a game of small negotiations.
Right, and honestly, the game that this reminds me of is a game that is currently in flux that is coming out from Fort Circle, and that is 1908, 1905, 1950. I forget the name of it. It's coming from Fort Circle. It's a negotiation game. James has played it. I have not, but I've seen it. And it's one of those, it's a negotiate, kind of a like a battle line type card play. But if I beat you too bad, I end up losing. Because you're just like, to hell with this, and negotiation goes kaput.
You have to be able to give and take.
And I'm not good at not wanting to just smush you down. It's in my nature to want to try and take what I can take and win what I can win and not negotiate. So there is nuance here that escapes me that I would like to explore more.
Yeah.
I think is a good way to put it.
Game's called Peace 1905.
Peace 1905. There you go.
Yeah, and also in how the gameplay pans out, right? If you smush me down and you constrain me to a corner, you harm yourself on being able to do the different control objectives.
And it possibly gives you room to sprout up in new areas.
Yeah, I think you walked this line pretty well because you, intentionally or not,
did
give me
100.
a little out
100%,
to scoot this way, which I was wanting to do to secure my port.
Right.
But if you completely box me in, suddenly I pop up wherever I want.
Yes.
Which is good, but also you can't have, if you go too much control and you have the objective where you want your influence next to my control, well, I can't place control next to your control, so you're going to be forcing my control away from your influence, right? You have to give and take in the game. Some of them are pretty straightforward. The one where, like, have 3 ports and have more than your opponent.
Or the center one, which I love.
I think on the scale of like grayness, the ones that control the icons on the map is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
The adjacency of control and influence is kind of in the middle, right?
These are really hard for me to parse. The rule, like the letter of how these are, is clear. But wrapping my head around these 2 cards,
they're very similar.
I struggle mightily with these.
Yeah.
I am not super keen because it's so again, you saw it. I'm like, wait, no, I didn't mean to. Yeah.
I've seen that in pre-plays as well of like you always need to kind of be, those 2 in particular, you always have to be checking. My colored in against your outline is but and I even lost track of it down here. I knew I needed to complete this objective.
Yeah.
And by doing that,
you gave it to me, right?
Maybe I should have not gone down there and just tried to sneak out, get this one, because then it would have been different.
And then work your way around it.
But I needed to get. To have a shot. I needed to get that port, and to do that with the way the cards went, I had to see this objective. Maybe I should have changed it, but I wasn't in a good spot. I know what the other 2 objectives that I don't have here are. I'm not in a good spot for them. One of them is the swords, which you've already taken, and one of them is cultural objectives, which I have. This one, I could have easily got this one. I can't color that in because of, and we've already given one away here. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I could have, but then you wouldn't have known that. So maybe you would have just plain to take it, right? I don't know. And I didn't want to I had some stuff to give up. Maybe I should have considered flexing, but that's an experience.
Yeah.
But then just to come back to it, the center of the board one, this is the sneaky guy. You can bait your opponent so easily with this. You can set them up.
I was so terrified that you were going to fill in one of those for me, and it was agonizing because it was just kind of hanging in the wind, waiting, and I couldn't quite manipulate initiative and the card plays to be able to get it. And I'm like, I was so stressed out about that one. And I love the clever interplay of, okay, I have committed to this, and you now know I have committed to this, and if I haven't completed it, it now paints a huge target on, it might pivot you from going from something that you were actively trying to do to help you to something that you were actively now trying to stop me from, which effectively works to your benefit either way, right?
And in theory, if you're somebody with a brain that works this way, you know what cards are left in the deck going into the third round.
Yes.
You know exactly what's left in the deck, regardless of who plays it and how it gets dealt. If I know that I got a bunch of blue control coming up, I can prune my objective if I have one I don't like, and maybe I can pivot off to something else, or maybe if the center's still up for grabs and I know there's a lot of blue control out there, I try to intimate to you that I set it up a way that the only option available is to fill in the blue in the center, which would make make me complete the objective, make you complete the objective, whichever way it is. So there's another layer below us just fighting over the board, which is what we did. And this was still fun. It was tense. Oh, yeah. But there's this whole other... Hi, Lincoln. There's this whole... I know I have a scratch on my knee. Don't lick it. There's this whole other layer of increasing information on the cards and increasing information of objectives combined with decreasing decision space in both of those cases. In the third round, I have this objective. Maybe I know what my last objective is because I've pruned, and I know what cards are coming. But do those two things line up? It's perfect. It's almost perfect.
And can you, if they don't line up perfectly, can you manipulate it to where it then works?
Yeah.
In the order in which cards are played, who has initiative, matters. Trump is nice, but it's being able to prune your hand to make it work. And the timing of all that is difficult in a game in which there's not a whole lot of just component-wise of options.
Yeah.
And it is really, really clever. All I want to do is sit down and play it again. I really like it.
To be clear, if you're not streaming and chit-chatting and interacting, you can play this lickety-split, and this is a best 2 or 3 game for me.
Yes.
Some in the same vein as like we done recently Winter Court, or any like Hanami Koji, any of the 2-player
or Pagan
right? This is a best 2 out of 3 game, and because of how it evolves, because the mechanics once you have them, especially in the moment, you can run on them and run on a strategy, and even into the next game in a new vacuum. You can keep the same ideas. You can change Sykes-Picot. It kind of matters. I don't know. I haven't played it enough in both seats to know if going first, going second. It all depends on the order the cards come out. And right, I start the Picot starting square is slightly closer to the center, but you're closer to a lot of the.
Yeah, it's not a symmetric layout at all. Not at all. But I have confidence that it's balanced. It's just not symmetric
or balanced or even historically accurate after a fashion of how it is. And the balance of me being 1 square up, this side of the board being more open than this side, lines up to actual geography and history, but also, not all games need to be balanced. This is a game that's telling a story. It's a historical story. It's showcasing something that occurred that was bad, and we can get into that in a second. But, not all games need to be balanced. Interesting game states and fun play don't necessarily come from an equal exchange.
Right.
I'm not saying one player is disadvantaged here at all. I think there's a pretty good job done of keeping things balanced, but things don't need to be. My one grump of the game, it's 2025. Please quarter your cards. It's okay. I like the art. I like I love the character sketches, which this was Annabelle Holland. They're very good.
Yes.
Even in the top two corners, suit rank. I know I need to look at this. I know this is harder to represent. At least half the cards. They don't need to.
The polyomino in the middle.
They can be forced to be held this way, but just quarter your cards. It makes it so much. At the gathering, I played a bunch of trick takers. Some were quartered, some were not, and all of us agreed we disliked the ones that weren't quartered more. It's a small grump. It's another reason why we use the card rails. You don't need it.
Quartered meaning the same in each corner.
Yeah, each corner has rank suit. That doesn't need to happen here, but those top two with the art of the gentleman underneath, whichever one or both of them, just it would be easier to play a hand that way.
And I think my frustration over the two objectives that are similar but opposite, that just comes from repetition and playing the game. So I think that's that's really honestly my only real beef with the game here.
So topically, just to touch on the historicity of the game, I was asking Brooks, was this theme first, mechanism first, and theme first? Because it's just horrible or not, it's an interesting moment in history where two people took a conceptual space and tried to apply it to real space with real people and real geography, and literally draw a straight line between ethnic groups, social groups, historical, cultural group, whatever it is, right? And it's terrible. It was not a good thing. Never mind that they also had other agreements with the Sharif of Mecca and the other countries in the war. Never mind that the war wasn't even over, right?
Yeah, it was far from decided.
Which there's a funny thing where this came out because of the Bolshevik Revolution, and when they sacked all the government offices, they found this and they just published it. They just sent out and said, hey, by the way, everyone, France and England did this, and here's the papers to prove it, and egg on many faces. In Brooks in his designer diary, and talking to him about it, this could have been far more simulationist. Think of like a John Company, which models a similar kind of tact of imperialism and the dividing of countries and the dividing of wealth. But it does so very intricately. There's layers of monetary control and influence, and there's little systems everywhere. How do the armies work, and how does the money flow, and how do you flow through the company? It's very, very detailed and models the game in a different way, and it forces you to engage with the subsystems.
Even though it's in a satirical way,
it wants you to engage in it in a way that, it's all in pursuit of the fancy hat, and the map of India is less than half a board, and the majority of the board is politics and London season and everything. He says in his designer diary, this could have been that, maybe, right? A different game. But the point is that when Sykes and Picot met, never mind the actual fact of AIDS or whatever, it was the two of them in a room, in a drawing room, with some maps and some rulers and a brandy and a cigarette or whatever. And they looked at a map, probably bigger than this, and they just started drawing lines and started saying, we care about this, we care about this. So this system of us just playing a two-player card game, which is a parlor game. This is a game we could sit at a table in a sitting room and play. It allows you to model it in a different way. You more inhabit a role. And you more quickly start losing the fact that what we're dividing up is
people's lives,
and countries, creating artificial borders and destabilizing political and people's lives for decades, right? But it treats it in a way that's conscientious. Some games that approach difficult topics don't do so conscientiously. This is, I just recently finished Amabel Holland's book, Mechanisms as Metaphors. It's great. Read it. Order it. Really good book. And then immediately playing this less than a week after I finished that book, right? This game is making a conscious choice, not just, it's a simple card game. It's lighter to fit a different market than some of Annabelle Holland's other stuff. It is specifically, we are Sykes and Picot playing a game in a drawing room.
Yep.
It is trivial to us. It's colors on a map. We're drawing things, literally drawing things on a map for fun. And then at the end of this, we're going to sit here and look at this map and superimpose, the Middle East, Palestine, Syria, Iraq. Think about what we just did. Because we literally did it. We did exactly what they did 100-something years ago.
Right.
So,
and it goes back to the very thing that Alan said at the very beginning of the stream, which is...
people lost their country.
Literally, they have no homeland now because of this stupid little card game or
the game they played.
Exactly.
But it's done in a way that if you don't know about this history, which you said, and I agree,
I had no clue about it
I knew a little bit.
Yep.
which, hey, I talk about it a lot. Great Extra History, it's a YouTube channel. Extra History video series on what's called The Great Loot, which is about this time period. There's a couple episodes in there about how this was done, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, the Arab revolt against the Ottomans. Lawrence of Arabia is in the background of this. T.E. Lawrence was down there, and he did it. In some of the larger actual treaty meetings, he was involved with it along with another woman who did a survey of the area whose name is escaping me. And all that was done in the open, on all the treaty. This was already signed in the background. We had the English had already shaken hands with the Sharif of Mecca and made a public agreement, and then Sykes and Picot met. And it was put away until the Bolsheviks found it and embarrassed the French and the English. So it's done in a way to make you sit and think about it at the end.
Which I think that this does the exact same thing that, using the John Company reference, just does it in it makes you, wow, we're all bad people. Yeah. Like that.
It's so easy to sit here and divvy this map and say, this card is representative of, I have a directive from the king at the time, I think. I have a directive from the king that we care about getting a border with India, right? This would be the English, but we care about getting a zone of control in India and having influence into some oil fields, right? That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about the people who live there. Right. Or the literal geography where I could draw a border through a mountain range, and usually what do borders do? They follow rivers, mountain ranges. You know, so I think it's well done. I think approaching a difficult topic, I don't find it to be taboo in games, but I find it, if it's done poorly, immediately down in the bin. I can't stand it. But I think this is done really well. I think it's done in a specific way on purpose.
Yes,
and you engage with it on its level, and you enjoy the game. And as part and parcel of that, you must consider
what it is you're doing.
Yeah, the metaphor that it's spelling out.
And on a positive note, the other thing that games like this force me to, and I say force in air quotes, look, nobody's forcing me to get books or listen to podcasts or watch YouTube videos or whatever it might be, or even if it's just delve into Wikipedia, right? But just go and learn about the history, because I'm fascinated by this. And again, it's a blind spot I had no clue about, and I love learning about history.
Yeah.
And
Brooks in our chat says, the low opacity of the actual geographical historical map behind the hexes is a very intentional choice, right? We could take a long time and study the map and realize, oh, wow, there's mountain ranges and rivers and maybe representations of the cultural groups, but we're just going to color over it with our little markers and crayons and rulers, and it doesn't matter, right? We're playing the game of hexes and control and influence. We're not playing the game of the map. So...
And what I'm doing right now...
Oh, yeah.
There, that's good enough. If you look real close...
You can see that
You can see that little A.
Right there.
And...
It's that A.
It's that A.
Which this is the actual historical map. That's how it looked. The big A and B slightly colored zones, those are the zones of influence.
There you go.
And then the darker red and blue. You can go look up the Sykes-Picot map for people listening to this after the fact. They had zones of influence and control, and the control didn't touch, and they put the holy sites in Palestine under international jurisdiction because they couldn't agree on it. And
so, yeah. Overall, I'd say A, successful, and B, really clever.
Yeah.
Really interesting game.
My only gripes are the quartering of the card, and I think the box is too big, but that's a standard Hollandspiele box, and I'm good with that.
Yeah. Not only that, but again, this goes back to the marketing. Now, Hollandspiele's not in game stores. I get that.
Yeah.
But, you're thinking about, just shelf presence in the whole 9 yards. I get it. But even with the game box being too big, it's still a tiny box.
It's the size of a book. It's the size of a soft cover, like big, one of the new fantasy books that my wife loves to read.
There
it's
that
you
go.
Big.
Yeah.
So. But Brooks, really good. Really love it. Happy we got to show it off. Happy it's fulfilling. I'd call it a success.
Yeah, really cool. And I'm glad we got a chance to show off a patron's game.
Yeah.
So, Brooks, really well done. Appreciate it. And Kyle, thanks for doing this today.
Happy we got to do it.
Really appreciate this. So, hey, if you all liked it, please like and subscribe. If you're new around here, there are literally hundreds of videos to check out. If you want even more behind-the-scenes content, consider patreon.com/HCHQ. Right below Kyle there, you get access to a whole bunch of extra, literal hundreds extra videos. At certain levels, you get access to a second podcast feed to go along with the podcast, the whole 9 yards.
Which,
so.
if you're still here, thumbs on the video. If you're
Yeah.
listening to this after the fact, like the podcast, follow it, put it on your downloads. All helps.
Yeah, appreciate
Pretty
it.
general shill, but that's all right.
I appreciate you. HeavyCon next week. Looking forward to that. Obviously, this will be there. So if you're coming, you'll get a chance to give it a try.
I'll stick my copy in the bag. No problem.
Cool. That's a wrap for this week. Next week, Maglev Metro and Age of Steam. And then HeavyCon.
Trains.
Trains for days. So we're going to go record a podcast now. I'm Edward.
Kyle.
Y'all have a good one. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Take care, y'all.
Vive la France. Vive la France.